Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today is June 27th, and for this month, this is the very last MSP Initiative Live, or MSP Talk, we like to call it, for the month. But don't worry, we keep doing this twice a week, almost every week, unless I'm stuck on an airplane, and that does happen. We'll get some housekeeping out of the way, and then we'll get into the good stuff. So MSPinitiative.com. This is where we park all the stuff that we do here. So, for example, this session is being recorded, and we will park it here. And this tags back to our podcatchers and our YouTube pages, and where all the various formats of this show get recorded and parked. So use whichever one fits you best. They are there for you to rewind and, tell us that we need to do something afterwards. So MSP Community Minds, we did one of these in Nashville early in the year, and actually our inaugural one was in Denver last year. We come back to Denver September 25th and 26th. We really are proud of this event. It is a totally educational event, right? Networking is there like every other event. We all love that, but MSP panels, actual workshops. We're not trying to swipe your card at the end of that either, right? Like, you're going to learn actual things from people in the trenches and from experts from around the industry. It's a 2-day event, and we really don't even charge you anything to be there other than you actually have to get there. So yeah, you might have to drive or fly, parachute in, take one of those Uber copters. I don't know. But if you can get there in Denver, September 25th, 26th, it's definitely worth your time. Then we have a ton of community block parties remaining this year. We just completed 2 in the same week, and that's the first time we've ever attempted to do that. It worked out okay. We had PAX 8 Beyond in Denver and DattoCon in Dublin, so we have many to round out the year. ConnectWise IT Nation in Australia in August, Kaseya DattoCon in Miami in October, another Kaseya DattoCon in Sydney in November. Then we got the big IT Nation Connect in November in Orlando, and then also PAX 8 Beyond Berlin in October. So, we're on every continent. Not really. Antarctica, not yet, but maybe one day. Anyway, we have some community offers. If you can take advantage of them, great. Feel free. And lastly, our industry calendar. There's hundreds of events, and if you really want to go check them out, feel free. They're all there for you. We gave you all of our homework, and there it all is, MSPinitiative.com. That being said, we bring back longtime friend of the show, and a guy who's been in the industry for quite some time in the sandbox, playing with the rest of us. Bring back Pete from Equilibrium Consulting in a probably very nice and warm Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. How you doing today, Pete?
I think we're cooler than you guys right
Let's see. I got 80 degrees and mostly sunny at the moment.
Okay, we're 88.
Okay.
So yesterday we were a little bit cooler than you guys.
Yeah, yesterday we were at like 90 something, and
Yep.
yeah. And we got a little rain overnight, finally cooled down. It was been in the 80s and 90s for about 2 weeks, week and a half too. So for some reason, not when we decided to go do a block party in Europe. It was very cold, 55 degrees and windy and a little rain. And I was like, why is it so cold here? Why do I have a jacket and hat on? It's summertime. So it's very much weird. But and then for some reason we came home, it was hot here, and then it finally got hot over there. And I'm like, yeah, we need to fix this warm weather thing. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't mind it.
Yeah,
I'll
well,
take it.
you moved down there from New Jersey, my friend. I'm sure you absolutely will take it.
Right. For a reason. For a
Yeah,
reason.
you don't have to deal with the colder winters that we are subject to up here in the Northeast.
A winter jacket down here is a hoodie. So
On George, do you see my messages in the chat?
Oh, I see. Hold on. Maybe okay. Let me press the button for you. That's okay. We're recording. All good. Now we're going live. All right. So anyway, so how are things, Pete? It's been some time. I know you're out for the count for a little bit there. How's everything?
yeah, everything's good. Everything's good. Back up and running at full steam, pretty much 95%, and looking for some new challenges that I'm going to bring in over this year. So
Okay.
just
Well,
one is with the company, and then personally, I'm going to go out and see if I can't do a 5K before the end of the year.
wow. Well, listen, I don't want to, unless you're willing to share, like you definitely had some like personal things that you had to get through at the end of last year, right? So,
Yeah, well, I wanted to make sure I did it right. So not just a single bypass, but a quintuple. So I went for all of them, was down for the count, two
was
days.
there really that many arteries that go into a heart?
Yeah, yep,
I thought
yep.
it was just four. I guess I missed one.
No, no, all five were plugged up, and pretty amazing that I was actually walking in November and December.
Wow.
But
Wow.
all back up. Great surgeons took care of me, did all the physical therapy, and now I'm getting back in it. And saw you out briefly in your whirlwind tour of Denver for Beyond. But
Oh,
you were in, you were out, and where was George? It was like, where's Waldo? Where's George? So,
yeah. It was a whirlwind. That's the first time we've tried, as you know, you've been following this whole tour of things that we've been doing over the years, but that was the first time we did two block parties in like 4 days. And wow, that was very interesting to move in between Denver and Dublin in like literally just warp speed or plane speed. But yeah, I didn't even get to really finish Beyond. I left the rest of the crew there to smile
mhm.
and get a little bit of love there. But I was happy that we were able to pull it off. I mean, I was worried that we were going to be able to do it.
Well, I didn't make it to the Denver one, as a recovering guy, still I was watching my endurance level, and it wasn't as high, so I think I was in bed before the first bus was pulling out. So
That is a-okay. I listen, I'm very happy to hear that you're doing much better. I was worried for you there, like I'm sure a lot of other people were. And hey, I went down my own health track, right? Not too far after
yeah,
you. So I feel definitely nowhere near the severity, but I definitely
uh,
feel a lot better now in June of 2024 than I did at the beginning of the year.
you're probably one of the only people on the channel that got to see me live within about a month of it.
I
And
I I'd be honest with you. I was you know you I'm shocked that you're, in that short a time, right? Modern medicine, whatever you want to call it. Maybe just a lot of hard work, but a little bit of both. But from what you look like at the end, when I saw you last in Myrtle Beach till now, is like night and day.
yeah, yeah, feels good. Got some color back, and don't have that horrible vest that wants to shock you when you're not fixed to it properly. So,
Wow. Well, good news. And now we're back to, your specialty, right? Marketing and lead generation and
yeah.
like the whole conversation, which hopefully hasn't, I don't know if it's changed dramatically in the last 6 months, but as all things go, I would love to know if like, are you advising people to go start a TikTok page? And, is that how we're going to find people new business in MSP land? Or is that
No, I
you're
think
gonna,
we're finally at a pivotal point where people, they've been sitting back saying it's election year,
that's
stock
true.
market's doing well, and so companies surprisingly are spending some money and going, and we're starting to see a lot of MSP growth
Okay.
out. I think in last year we saw growth, but I think this year we're seeing exponentially. But
Hmm.
now we're at that pivot point where we're eating our own. MSPs are eating other MSPs either through acquisition or they're eating the clients of the other ones through services that they own.
Interesting.
So, it's at that point now of the ecosystem of saturation, and MSPs are just on top of each other in every region. It's just a saturated market.
I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that say that the saturation of specific areas is largely over exaggerated. Like meaning like not every company out there that can use an MSP has an MSP.
Hmm. No, I think there's still plenty of opportunity and new businesses are opening every day, right? But
Mhm.
for the most part, we're seeing a lot of companies now that are going through quoting and processes with our clients that are probably into their second or third MSP now.
Okay, that's
So
fair. Um, it's very interesting. You have, I don't know if you've cracked it or maybe you just have a very good methodology to it, but I bring it up quasi regularly because people like almost forget that it exists. Like I call it free money. That don't copyright that. Free and money are very, very, ubiquitous words, right? But free money, meaning there's a lot of MDF money out there,
Mhm.
and we hear it, and you read the articles, much of it goes unused every year, and like most companies that even have a formal MDF program, like I think something like the average is half of it doesn't get allocated, like it just sits in the pie,
Yep,
budgeted, but like doesn't get claimed, and like you do a lot of this, right? You help
we
MSP
do.
like figure out how to unscrew the cork that's holding up that money. Tell us what the magic is. What's the secret?
Well, the magic is to know which partners are giving money, and then you've got to stay on top of it so you use it before it expires.
Okay.
This year, we've already helped customers spend roughly $250,000 of their MBA.
Okay.
So,
That's a lot of
and
money.
so it's
And like,
a lot of money that's on the table, and a lot of people just don't realize because they don't ask, and they don't know where to start, or their reps are not really savvy in co-op or MDF either, so they kind of push away from it instead of pushing through it.
hmm,
So we've I don't want to say we've cracked the code because there's a lot in our space that know how to do it and do it very well also. But I think we've brought a lot. And when you start looking at what a marketing program costs, it offsets the cost of our programs. So you
hmm.
can pay for us if you're a decent Microsoft provider. 100% of what we do on a monthly basis can be covered by your MDF.
Wait. Time out. There's 90,000 Microsoft partners. A lot
Mhm.
of them MSPs, not all of them, but a lot of them. Where do I even go? Like there's 8,000 portals for Microsoft. I don't even know where to go look to actually figure out what the options are for MDF for Microsoft.
Well, there's a 56-page guide that changes regularly from
56.
Microsoft of what's eligible and how it's eligible and all that. The best place to start is through distribution.
Okay.
Uh, Distribution will want you to spend money with them and their MDF, taking the MDF and holding that money and taking it from vendors and using it in their program.
Okay.
But what you'll get caught up in is postcard campaigns or things that really don't drive any value to you, don't drive any leads because there's no follow up or there's very little um, personalization that goes into it.
Cookie
So you'll spend a lot of MDF for no return, right? Whereas when you come into a program like us that do it for you, we'll actually customize, put out, build campaigns, and launch. So,
Okay. So if you're working with a Paxade, a SureWeb, an Ingram, a Synex Tech Data, or whatever, right? One of those guys, your recommendation is if you want access to Microsoft MDF, start there.
yep. And of course, if you're a tier one or a direct company, you just go into your portal and you make your claims. But a lot of people leave a lot of money on the table with Microsoft because
I
there's
mean,
all kinds of things. But a
okay.
lot of vendors, a lot of vendors don't do MDF in the classic way because they were all based on transactional sales. If you think
Mm-hmm.
about back in the day, we used to sell a piece of hardware, desktop, a computer, a switch, or whatever. And based on our volume was how we accrued our MDF and co-op. Yeah, right. Accessories, right? And we would accrue. We would get point values or whatever that would turn into dollars after you met a certain threshold. Now you still have sales volumes, but Microsoft is a more traditional. They've rolled that model through where um, a lot of the newer ones that are in the security spaces will help you with things. They will launch to do webinars and soft costs, soft dollars for them to help go and do.
Interesting.
So we work with them to bring in those resources also and handle all that. So you're not having to coordinate it. Once we get plugged in, we pull it together and make it.
Okay, so
Five webinars going on.
we heard Microsoft. That's a big
Yep.
guy. No, I think almost every MSP I interact with is doing something with Microsoft. So there's money
If you're
there.
not, it's pretty wild that you're
Yeah,
not.
I agree. Maybe you're all Google. I don't know, but
Yeah.
I would say almost 99 point something percent Microsoft. Okay. Do you have any other vendors you'd be comfortable sharing that you feel that your MSP clients are successfully able to get MDF programs running
Sure. So Lenovo's got a really good rich plan.
through? Okay.
Also, HP's got a decent rich plan. Again, traditional type vendors. Um, Datto, Kaseya's got some really good, depending on which product line or what you're doing, but primarily around the Datto. But they've changed those pieces now, and they've have to roll up, and you need to meet certain goals. It's not as opportunistic as it used to be, right?
Okay.
Sonic Wall,
Okay.
WatchGuard, again, traditional hardware kind of style vendors, but um, they look at an opportunity, not necessarily a sales volume. So you can do unsolicited proposal to some of these partners and bring it to the table. And if they approve it, then you work with them and you get some money.
Wow. I mean, by the way, that that was like a half dozen right there that you just rattled off.
Mm-hmm.
I would say they're pretty popular and widely used. Like again, I don't, 1-800 Lenovo. Like, who do I even like? I assume this is again through distribution.
No, actually, you go directly to Lenovo, and it's in your
Oh,
partner portal. So inside
wow.
your partner portal, you go in and you look at your sales volume. Obviously, you need to make sure that distribution is reporting properly, so you know what your numbers are because it is accrued based on volume. But as long as you're doing volume, you can push it through. And same thing, we work directly with the channel members inside the teams that are in. So it's very rare for us to be talking to somebody at distribution. Even if you move through distribution, we'll go directly because we'll know the parties that we can talk to make it happen.
Do
So
you
there's
do you have a place like, I don't know if it's internal or do you have a document that maybe is external, but like, is any of this all in one place, or do you call 1-800 Pete and get the information?
yeah, pretty much you call us and we work with you and do it. There's no consistent program against any one of the partners. So everybody's got something a little different and they've got a little tweak to it. Some are better than others, but
Well, I got to be honest with you though, that as somebody who, like, you could go borrow money, right? You can go to the
Mhm.
bank, traditional, right? You could, bring investors into your company. You could swipe your credit card and hope that you have a 0% for, I don't know, whatever, 12, 15 months. But like literally free money. I'm sure there's tasks that need to be done in order to like satisfy some of the programs, right? Like, hey, did you actually spend it? Did, how many people came, right? That,
Yeah.
like, I'm sure everything's, got their own little strings attached, but I mean, it's literally free money that goes unused. And like, to be honest with you, I don't think anyone does it well. Like from a, unless you're a larger MSP and you've been doing this for a long time and like where the money comes from. I would say the majority of people out there, they just, it's a magical foreign concept. So like, if this is something that you have the right person and the right companies and you know exactly what needs to be done in order to get somebody to, the point where money gets transferred, that's a win. And to be honest with you, not a lot of people step forward with that as their opening conversation, right? Like, they're like, hey, this is
Mhm.
why you should invest. And this is why this is how we're going to create a growth plan. But a growth plan with somebody else's money sounds a lot better than me having to swipe my credit card on my own.
Well, and marketing is always an overhead function. Most owners look at overhead as it's a drain on overhead. It's a drain on their profit. It's not something that's a direct bill.
Yeah.
So if you can find ways to use other people's money to fund that marketing effort, your attitude can change, and with that, you can get and fuel some growth into your business and brand equity as well as demand equity. You
Yeah.
make that shift from branding to demand. Right?
No, 100. I mean, listen,
So
I,
it's a big thing of, it's one of those things that everybody talks about. And believe it or not, even the big guys,
mhm.
they don't like to deal with it because of the reporting on the back end. but that's part of what we do. We deal with reporting, and a lot of the companies that are willing to give because they work with us know that they're going to get their reports on the back end and know that they're going to get a tighter relationship
Well,
because we push that relationship.
needless to say, right? If you go and get money the first time and then you burn the bridge and you can't go back again, then whatever the interval is, every year, every quarter, every whatever, like everybody gives this out differently at different times. That sucks because it's one and done. I don't want one and done. I want to be able to go back and ask for more, right? So successfully going through it where they're going to let you come back and do it again. I think that's all very important, or else, you got to shoot your bullet and then you're going to be out and you're back to your credit card. And like, no offense, I want to keep on taking that Microsoft money. I'd rather spend their money than my money.
Yeah, they're really good about it, and it's like clockwork. So some of it you get, some of you just get back every month as part of your commissions that come back and all that. And then there's other parts that you accrue, and then there's opportunity based. And then there's even something that if you're doing projects,
Okay.
you can go in and you can actually do a proof of concept, write it up, put it into the portal, and put the results in, and you can get money back. And for every project that you do that's a Microsoft conversion or an update or an upgrade, here's a big one for everybody. Windows 10 to Windows 11 coming by the end of next year, right?
Yep.
If you started doing migrations and updates and you do that project, you can actually put that into the portal in the Microsoft incentive in the opportunity side. And as you deliver, upload your invoices and upload your performance and your labor into it, and they will give you a percentage back. So,
yeah, really.
And so there's back end money on your projects too that Microsoft will do it to say, hey, we know we didn't give it to you on the license. We know that what we did over the last couple of years diminished maybe your licensing profitability. But if you're smart enough, you get on the back end and you put that in and you push it and you go in and do that reporting, and there can be. So it could be $50 or it could be $1,000 or $5,000 that you get for a project, depending on the size or the magnitude of what you're doing.
If that's the only thing anybody walked away from this session with, that's a win because you're all doing it. Projects and professional services are a chunk of every IT managed services companies. If you're not doing it, I don't know how things are going, but bottom line is effectively, talk about profitability, right? You set a price, you charge your customer, you did the project, then you came back and got it's almost like a rebate bonus, right? On top, that your customer doesn't even know about. I mean, that's awesome.
I mean, and I won't say what geography, but we had a customer last year that's in New York City. So I said the geography. They pulled about $165,000 from Microsoft last year.
In projects? In project rebate?
In total back end MDF and compensation.
That's 6 figures, man.
That's a lot of money.
That's
a lot of money.
Free money. You just got to know where to go and know what to do. That's part of, hey, value add here, guys, right? You're like, hey, why should I invest in an outside, specialist for our company? Here it is. If they're paying for themselves, hard not to argue. So that I'm glad we started down this road because, man, we talk about this all the time, but you're actioning it. I think that's the big difference. Like I had no clue you could get project rebates or incentives from Microsoft, and I've been for a while. So that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, you have an MSP, so you could do the same thing.
Wow, that's crazy.
My number. I'll show you how to do it in your portal.
See,
takes 5 minutes. Takes 5 minutes.
1-800-Pete. That's my answer.
Go.
All right, so we're gonna cycle to, and you mentioned earlier, but I think it's worth going right into it. Brand versus demand.
Oh, it's tough, right?
By the way, I love that it rhymes. Brand versus demand. A lot of people, especially when you're first starting out, spend a lot of money that they're like, oh well, branding, and it's like you have no expectation of return. You're just literally melting the credit card, and it's like, unless you have the money to burn, like you just putting your name out there is great, but especially if it's like your own cash and there's not a lot of it, like how far can that take you? And then demand, right? Like in the beginning of any new division, company, project, rebrand, whatever, a lot of promotion, there's a lot of excitement, and then all of a sudden it kind of like settles back down into regular life, and then all of a sudden you're like, well, how do I generate business and new customers? And that's always been this cycle, right? No matter, for as long as we're all in here, this is how it goes, circle.
It's a cycle. So you gotta start out. You gotta say, if you've never done marketing, you gotta say for 6 months you're doing branding.
Okay.
Some things should fall into your bucket, but as you start to come down, your marketing needs to ramp into demand. You need more landing pages, more outbound reach. So you have to start thinking about maybe a rep or some calling, making sure that you're out at events. You should be doing that anyway, right? Even during the branding. A lot of people say, oh, marketing's going to do it, so we don't have to. No, just like we build community in the IT channel by going to trade events, you have to, as an owner, go to your local events. You have to be seen, you have to be heard, and you have to have your brand associated. And the more that you do that, the more relationships, because let's face it, people buy from people they know and people they like, right? So if you're not doing that, that's part of branding, but that's where you start to make your transition into demand, where you're actually putting more ask into your marketing and less brand into your marketing. And so a lot of marketing companies um, wouldn't say fail, but they don't make that transition for the company at that start to look at it at that fourth month and say, how do we start moving you into demand? How do we keep you balanced at brand and keep that level? But now we've got to ramp it up to start making special offers or things that can get out that are going to drive people to whatever your digital footprint is, or pick up the phone, or refer you, whatever it might be.
Yeah, like, I'm going to be honest with you. If I'm spending money, I expect ROI.
Mm-hmm.
That's just at this point on June 27th, 2024, like, I want to measure every dollar going out of the bank account when it comes to the category of marketing, because marketing and sales are supposed to be like, simpatico, right? Like, if you're doing this and this doesn't get fed, what are we doing? Like, in my mind, there's a 1-to-1, right? So, for every dollar I spend, I want to know what money I can, reasonably expect. And I think I'm being reasonable. Tell me if I'm crazy. I think you probably already think I'm crazy, but that's okay. On this
I know you
topic,
long enough to say you're crazy, but that
okay,
doesn't mean that I'm not on that same train. So.
sure. So if I spend $1 in marketing, branding, demand, whatever, I don't care, marketing, I want to see the return on that dollar within 12 months. Is that reasonable?
I think in 12 months you're going to start. At 6 months you should start to see some return.
Okay.
At 12 months you should start to see more consistency in the return. You
Okay.
may not see 100% return though, but
Okay.
at some point, if you really think about it, whatever your spend is, most companies will look at it as, if they get one deal that hits the MRC, then for the year of what their spend is, then that one deal paid for their marketing. Now, deal number two is the profit margin, right? That's where marketing then accelerates. So, getting yourself in, but we're seeing much bigger deals getting written than we used to. Like we're seeing MSPs closing 20K plus per month in their MRR, and their ARR is certainly growing commensurate with that. So.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if your average deal, you didn't say average, but like in a alternate universe, if your average deal is 20K MRR, that's you got to be happy. I would hope the math looks really good on that deal.
Yeah. So I mean, we see average deals for probably are sitting in that 3,500 to 4,000 MRR right now. And the bigger deals we're seeing between 40 and 50
Wow.
MRR.
Hmm.
And those
Well,
are not all,
I,
those are not all. There's a lot of different markets and what's
right.
available in
I
different
was about to
markets.
say, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, all right, $20,000 a month, annual revenue on that is what, 240K ish. So like, but an account taking in that kind of volume, or in terms of, that's a bigger account big accounts also take a lot more energy though.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, don't get so like, hey, the numbers look good, but how much do you got to do to service the 3-digit organization is a lot different than you got to service the 2-digit organization in terms of
Mhm.
employee headcount.
Well, I think security and compliance services are helping drive some of the numbers up too, because they're more consultative in nature than they are
Fair,
babysitting a help desk. You
fair.
know, they're much more out there, and there's other services that are behind them that are hard costs that, you know, you're not maintaining on staff, but you are maintaining a lot of the other parts of what goes on between your customer and the MDR center or the EDR or what have you. So it's
Yeah.
good.
No, I
But
I I agree.
so
That's fair. So
yeah.
like, other than the homogenous, you're like, hey, there's a lot of saturation. Well, saturation, I think, is just everybody advertising they do what everybody else does. I think that's where the saturation is. I think there's
Mhm.
still a lot of business out there that's not using an MSP that probably needs one. That being said, especially when I go to like data center websites, internet provider websites, like people who I don't even classify as IT and MSP, and then they're literally saying the same damn thing
Yeah.
as the guy who's in it. So like, how do you even differentiate the message at this point?
Well, I think, you know, are you going to trust, are you going to trust your managed services to a data center? You know, maybe your server, maybe from some of the infrastructure where it's hosted because they can get to the hardware quicker than you could, right?
Sure.
But who's going to take care of the rest? Who's looking at the security and the overall wrapper? I mean, we just saw this whole CDK in the automotive
Oh,
industry. You know, now,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
you're a SaaS provider and you're saying, oh, for, you know, $15 a node, I'll do your managed services. But if you really went in there, do they have the back end security and specialists looking at that, or did they just say, you know, getting into managed services is easy because we got their SaaS license, we've got their infrastructure, at least 50% of it. It's just their local. So what does it take to take care of the local infrastructure?
Oh,
Let's see, you know, if they break, you know,
yeah. For everybody that's listening, we're gonna like pause on the topic that we're on. Let's like, cause CDK, right? It's actually pretty real time, like it's happening as we
oh
speak, right?
yeah, it's bad.
CDK is a company like some of the companies in the MSP land who acquired a bunch of automotive dealership software and turned it into a SaaS solution. Right. So they rolled it all up. There's like 3 players. Does that sound familiar? It's like 3 big companies in the
Yeah.
automotive dealership space. So 3 big companies in the MSP space. Anyway, and then what did they do? They convinced everybody to go cloud because that's where everything's going, subscription, cloud, right? Fine. We're used to this. Microsoft did the same, right? And then ransom attack shut all the dealerships down in one shot. They've been down for, I'm thinking something like
Week and a
7.
half,
I
week
was
and
gonna
a
say
half
like
now.
10
But it's
days.
not just the dealerships, it's body shops, it's parts stores,
Parts.
it's
Yeah.
banks linked. So banks are being affected too. You know,
And like
so it's
literally every part, like inventory, service center, like you're buying a car, you're applying for financing, like the whole, just like your PSA should really, if it's implemented properly, is like should tie your whole company together in an operating system. Same deal,
yep,
right? And so, like at the end of the day, these people, we're talking like thousands, like not just all Hondas, right? Talking like tens of thousands of dealerships are on CDK as their operating system. These people are back to handwriting things and like typewriters and triplicate paper and
yep.
like a lot of people did not have the DR strategy for their operating system going down from a dealership standpoint. Like I guess like if you take the computers out, you can still do things by hand, but oh boy. Talk about all of the stuff that has to be done once a system is back online. Now, hold on 1 second. Hold on. This is where it gets even worse. So you're down. The cost of business and your business is like at a standstill and you still have to sell things in order to keep the business going. Okay, that's part of it. Here's the second part of it. All of the personal identifiable information, right? You go to buy a car. So security numbers and there's all sorts of stuff that's like credit
Your credit
scores,
in for everything.
You know, like this is stuff that's like probably don't want that stuff out on the internet because like your identity can get stolen and like you know how that goes. So like that's out there. So not only was the SaaS company hit, the dealerships who are responsible for your personal information that's on file is now affected. Oh, and by the way, bad guys have gotten smart over these years. What do? They start spam calling, emailing, and phishing, not just the dealerships, hoping that one person, bites, right? Like could be, hey, we're calling from CDK, we're CDK support, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And then, bad things can ensue from there. They're also calling the consumers whose data was now infiltrated, and they're literally playing the same game on the other side. So like, talk about just massive, massive like implications here. And by the way, back to the first part, operationally, these people, these dealerships may not be back online for another week, a couple weeks, they're saying. So like, imagine a whole month going by, your PSA is down, accounting system's down. You can't order anything, you can't buy anything, you're handwriting checks, payroll even, right? Dude.
You can't even service vehicles. It's so bad. It's so bad that the parts people have a big inventory and they don't even know where the inventory is or how to find it in their parts warehouse.
So this is
because they're so dependent upon the product, the system to do it for them.
Let's rope it back into the larger conversation. So what Pete's been saying is, all right, well, CDK, who advertises to automotive dealerships, is like, hey, you're going to give us your operating system, your SaaS software. We're going to do all of your IT support. You don't need another IT company. You don't need an in-house IT department. Oh, and by the way, we're going to do your phones. We're going to do your printers. We're going to do that. Starting to sound familiar? They're acting as a managed services provider. But now that this has all happened, I argue if you were going to run a campaign right now to try and find new customers, might be a prime opportunity to start targeting parts, automotive, and service.
Go figure. We might have already launched some.
I mean, at 50, if I don't know if you just pulled that price out of the sky, but somebody came to me and they're like $15 per workstation plus the cost.
I just pulled it out of the sky, but I mean, it's the same problem though. You look at insurance, there's big insurance companies too that or insurance SaaS products that are the same thing and they run it. And once they got you in the cloud, they're, hey, you don't need a local MSP. We can take care of it all for you. And they do it at a lower price because it offsets the cost of their help desk, which you're already paying for, but now it makes it a better cost center for them, right? It shows that they can make money, but it doesn't mean that they're doing the same quality or the same level of services that a local MSP would do. And I think that's where it's hard to convince them because it's the old price versus,
hold on. Here's your marketing campaign. I'm not a marketing guy, but I'm crazy. So let's take a shot here. Is your dealership IT support shut off their phone lines? We answer our phones. Here's our number. Call us. No joke. CDK literally disconnected their phone lines during this whole thing. Did not field a single support ticket. They just sent out blast emails. Hey, we're down. Sorry, we're not fielding any support tickets. You just have to wait. Here's the update. Could you imagine? Could you imagine telling your customer, like, I've been saying this for over a year. Frontier Airlines. We're like, nope. You want to interact with us, you got to use our app or our website. We're deleting our phone number. Our phone number now goes to a disconnect. Could you imagine, as an IT company, technology firm, managed services, I don't care, whatever works for you, you literally tell people you cannot be reached by phone. Nope. If I was shopping for a provider, I'd just skip you and move on to the next one. If I have a problem, I need to call 911. I need to be able to get a hold of you. So talk about the marketing opportunity for you right now. Could you imagine you're the check signer of a car dealership or dealership group, and you haven't been able to get a hold of IT support or your software company for two weeks? They're telling you it's going to at least be another 2 weeks, maybe more. I'm in the middle of this massive, I can't do business. Oh, and by the way, I might get sued by the time it's all said and done by anybody who's ever bought anything from me because now their data's out there. Man, I'm probably looking for somebody right now.
And so, there's part two of opportunity is, we've got all this stuff in the cloud. what impact is this happening on the cloud? Because we're seeing more and more of these attacks, and they're all happening out in the cloud. And everybody's saying, "Oh, the cloud is secure." Well, not necessarily true. So there's a lot of marketing and a lot of knowledge and education that can be provided around this too from the MSPs in their local geographies out to
I hate
potentials.
I hate to even go back to what I think is an old theme, but like, hey, what's your DR plan? Can you flip backwards from the cloud? Is there a hybrid approach where if the internet's down, your provider's down, there's an issue, can you still keep running your business? And like before, you would use the word backup and disaster recovery as a single theme. But in reality, they are separate things that do cross each other. But like, what do you tell the 15, 20, 25,000 dealerships out there that for literally are just, they didn't have a plan?
Nope.
There was no backup. There
Nope.
was no DR
Well,
strategy.
the backup was the backup, but the backup got encrypted too. I mean, the ransomware people, they did it. They were very thorough. But the fact is that there's tremendous opportunity with SaaS providers trying to take managed services, and these are several things have happened in the last year that would basically demonstrate that. Even in our own market, with what we saw with ConnectWise, Kaseya,
I
we've
was
seen it.
literally
We've seen
about
it
to
in
say it. I
our
was like,
own.
I don't want to put names out there, but like, there's a real eerie like parallel to what we're talking about right now in our own space. Like it's not like a couple years ago, we're not too far removed, and now feel very, same. So I'm not trying to say every, what did they, what's that? There's a movie out there around politics. It's like, well, every crisis is an opportunity. I hate to even think about that, but here's the reality. People are out there in this situation. They're in trouble. They're going to be stuck still for a little bit more. And do they trust their existing setup now moving forward? Probably not. Probably lost
Yeah.
some trust. So back to everyone who needs an IT company, has an IT company. It's one of those opportunities where I think a lot of those people who have an IT company may be switching to a new IT company.
Even if they could just run spreadsheets, they'd be happy. They can't do that right now because everything's offline.
It's amazing. Well, so I can imagine, Pete, it seems like you've alluded to this. Some of your customers are already running campaigns now on this.
Mhm. Yep.
And have they,
We've been very busy the last 2 weeks with stuff.
yeah. Has there been some early returns? Is it working?
Um, there has been some appointments set. I don't know what the returns or what they are. We'll probably find out in our next meeting next week or the week after as to what those meetings and come out. But I mean, there's always opportunity in something, and it's somebody that realizes and smart enough to say, we use the word business resilience.
Okay.
It's not disaster recovery, it's resilience. Like, how resilient is your company? There's natural disasters just like there always been. Now there's other things that are outside of influence. And, it's how resilient are you? Do you have a plan? Did you ever think through these other things? Everybody's said, we've heard DR, BC, just like you said, it was a big thing 3 years ago, right? And we wore it out. And our ears are bleeding right now from just hearing cybersecurity so much and compliance, right? So everybody's just, it's a lot of noise.
Yeah.
But the noise is if you're
So
looking at real world examples, you better take note because it's not a matter of if, it's when. How resilient is your organization to come back and fight the fight?
it's a little bit more of a premium word, but I like it. It's a little, it adds a little bit of a sophisticated, approach to it. So
Yep.
not a marketing person, but I can tell you what I like.
We've stricken words like protect and breach. It's now incidents and resilience,
I
right?
like
Because you can't be protected. Nobody can protect you 100% anymore because your own employee could, have an incident on a password
for sure.
because they didn't protect it properly. So, and you can't stand it. So I'll tell you, I want to come back a little bit to our other discussion. One of the things that we worked on while I was in my recovery phase and business was going on, we launched a new product for lower OML lower OML providers. And it is a subscription-based self-serve. And
Okay.
it's Market Vault, MARKIT, off of our brand,
Market.
right? Marketvault.com. And you
Okay.
basically can go in and get social media, blogs. You can order up a website. You can get a lot of our full-blown services there also, but it allows you to self-service. And in our tools and resources, we've aligned some partners to give demo software out that can let you load up your software or load up your social media to do it. Uh, and so what we do in the social media side is we've given the graphics and a PDF with content in it and all the hashtags and everything. So all you have to basically do is cut and paste it. So you buy it, you download it, and within an hour, your month is set for social media. And then you just come back next month and buy, you'll get your next core pack. We also have enhancement packs that will be video or motion or GIFs and stories and reels and things like that. And then the blogs are the same thing where you get the Word document that's got all the SEO information. So with the suggestion and a link and everything. Oh, and by the way, we'll be adding to the tools and resources partners that will make this 100% MDF. And
Oh,
we'll provide links on how to get your MDF. So we're looking at a underserved OML MSP and saying they need to get started with brand, right? And here's a great way to get started with brand, get some high quality images, high quality content, get it out, start working on things that you can do. The one thing that lower OML don't have is a lot of time because as a single owner, they're doing owner-led everything, right? So this gives them the ability to launch at a very cost-effective price point, as well as a low impact on their resource of time. And if they
for
pick up the
everybody.
phone, we'll help them and guide them through it as part of the service.
So number one, just in case you're listening to this, you've never heard the term OML. I know we love acronyms. So this is something that's come out of the peer group land called operational maturity level. I think we should probably credit probably Paul Dipple is probably one of the people who's most come up with things like this OML. But operational maturity level, right? If you're following, you go Google it, right? Paul Dipple OML. It's like 1 through 5, right? 1 is like, hey, small, starting out, don't have a lot of resources. And then like 5 is I'm a machine. And like the thing is like, big corporation and you don't even have to be huge, right? Just like the efficiency and the functionality of your company, right?
Repeatable
So
and predictable, right?
perfect. So what Pete's saying is, hey, if you're a smaller organization, you haven't spent a lot of time, in this category, you need something, but you haven't spent a lot of time here. Maybe you don't have a lot of money and, to invest in it at the moment, but like, you need something. And rather than just going to create a Wix website and just hope that that's okay, or a GoDaddy or whatever, right? Like, hey, here's something that's actually tailored specifically for IT MSP land, and you literally, not a huge lift, a little, probably not super, expensive, gets you started, right? With something that doesn't look, like you tried to, carve it together on Microsoft Paint, which I think is still around for a little bit. That being said,
There's a new
Mark,
AI version of it.
beautiful. Mark it Vault.
IT.
Okay. So
Mark
spell
IT Vault.
Mark IT Vault. Okay, .com.
Yep.
What's this thing cost?
What's that?
What does it cost?
Market Vault Marketing Hub.
No. Like, how much does it cost?
$100 a month. $100 to get your social media going, and then you buy your enhancement packs.
Okay.
Right now, we're giving away the holiday pack for free. So,
July.
so within the next 2 days, we'll be uploading July. And July products will be up there because June is gone. New products will be up and live.
4th of July, my favorite holiday.
Yep.
Yeah. And it's not just because of fireworks, although those are fun too. Had some barbecues in there, and good weather, hopefully, and it's America's birthday. Don't forget. That's awesome. For $100 a month, probably spend $100 a month in Chick-fil-A. And that's probably
I
a
think
low.
you probably spend way more than $100 a
Yeah,
month to check.
100%. Okay, that's cool. That's new. I like it.
So, yeah, so we see an underserved market, and we know that they all want to get going, but they just don't know where to start. So that's a place to start, and there's going to be more coming, and educational blogs are up there to teach different things, and videos that will be coming up on how-tos, as well as Equilibrium Consult, where we've got a lot of blogs, and up on our LinkedIn page, we've got some separate articles. We've probably got about 50 articles up there. And I've got a series that I write every Monday called Omni-Channel Monday, and it deals with all things marketing. We broke down, there's some 4-part, 5-part series up there that deal with all different aspects of it, all education, no call to action in there. But up on the Equilibrium again, there's all. We even did a WordPress series on how to secure WordPress
Ah,
if you're doing it yourself. Here's a great resource. It's a 5-part series up on our company page on LinkedIn. So all about education. Get up there. Our goal this year is to really help providers get going, stay going, and help them mature. And obviously, we're here to help them get in on an educational perspective. So
sounds fun. Sounds like you've been working on a bunch of stuff.
yeah, little by little,
That's good. Well,
some more things are coming.
hey, I'm glad you're back in the saddle. You launched a new product. We're still creating content, which is king, right? What I don't know about TikTok. I know I opened up.
We're still not pushing TikTok.
Okay.
TikTok.
TikTok.
Some are doing it, but we're not pushing it.
Yeah, and Snapchat, and maybe some of the not business focused things out there. But hey,
a lot of things in Reels and Stories now for Instagram and Facebook.
Well, you know what? Short video clips are not a bad idea.
Yep, very good. And even up on LinkedIn, doing panels and informational type things, you see more and more of that stuff.
I like that. And LinkedIn is still, creating organic content in LinkedIn is still a very good idea.
Yep.
Very good idea. I didn't even say put ads in, just organic content on LinkedIn. If you're in business, please spend some time there. And if you don't, maybe sign up for this thing and put it in there. But either way, do
but
something.
balance it out. Balance it out. Brand and demand.
There
It's
you
okay
go.
to do call to action, but don't do it all call to action. Do some education. Education is important, right?
We're gonna label this session brand and demand. I think that's the name for the game.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
So Mark, itvault.com, equilibriumconsult.com, any other places we should send people to? How do they get a hold of you?
LinkedIn, I'm up there pretty regularly and all that. And upcoming will be a CompTIA. We'll have a booth there, and who knows, maybe we'll make we can make a guest appearance or a special appearance out of Community Minds.
Maybe. So if everyone is looking for Pete on all the social networks, Pete, I think everyone knows how to spell that. Last name Busam. Just in case you want to send Pete a message. If I was you, I'd be like, Pete, I need all that MDF information. How do I do it? Hook me up, man. That's what I would send. But I digress. You do what you do best. I think a single message probably doesn't cost you a lot of time. Take it for what it's worth. This session, we recorded, which means you can go backwards and rewind and make sure you start writing down all those names Pete said of all the people giving out free money. That being said, all the URLs are there. Definitely go to mspinitiative.com under sessions. It'll be on our YouTube page, be on the podcatchers. This is a good one to go back and review because we talked about a lot of stuff that's like actual money-making things for you. And if you don't take advantage of it, it's on you. We at least got you to good information that can actually help you. That being said, keep watching us here at mspinitiative.com. We do these podcasts twice a week, and all of them go back to, March of 2020. So there's hundreds of episodes. Go ahead.
I'm going to give you one more thing.
Okay.
The MSP Initiative community, we've got the website up on the special offers. We're going to go back and we're going to add another offer with a special code in it, only MSP Initiative members for Marketville.
Oh,
Get you 25% off of your $100 for your first 3 months.
it was already like Chick-fil-A money. The guys could
You know, we want to get these companies started. So
okay.
going to give
All
them
right.
25% off their first 3 months only with the MSP Initiative code.
When we post this, we're going to make sure to have that in all the notes, and we'll send it out and make sure everybody knows that that's a special offer to take advantage of, because guys, like, it's giving it away. But if he's telling you as part of that $100 a month, he's going to tell you how to get that MDF money, I would just give him the $100 and say, give me the MDF money. But hey, I digress.
Maybe we need to do maybe I need to do a webinar on MDF.
I think it would be a good idea.
Yeah.
Keep watching us here at MSPinitiative.com. We got MSP Community Minds coming up in Denver, September 25th, 26th, and we got all those block parties. Keep coming in and enjoying yourself. Thank you for watching, and we'll catch you on the flip side. Pete, talk to you on the other end, and we'll catch up with you later.
Take care.
Cheers, guys.